So I've been getting a lot of message requests on from folks who are preparing to go in the military, wanting to work out a training regimen or something else like that, and they're looking for general advice on, hey, how do I make it? Kind of the first thing that springs to mind is something about personal limits and how much of it is up here and what you do to really prepare. A story springs to mind about when I was in Ranger School. I was going up a mountain. My legs were already so smoked I could barely walk just on flat ground, and I was carrying a machine gun, a bunch of ammo, all my gear and stuff, and just weighted down on this malnourished body. And I was supposed to walk up a mountain, and I felt like there is no way I'll make it up 50 feet. And I remember just being so furious. At the time, I had this big machine gun on me, and so I would walk up a little bit, and I remember just being so angry. I'd kind of look around, and the only way I could cope with my circumstances and the suck in general was I'd take that machine gun when no one was looking, and I would take it and I would just slam it as hard as I could against a tree. And that made me feel a little bit better. And I was able to walk about 50 more feet until I'd start getting ticked again, and then I'd look around and I'd be like, wham! And I just, anyway, my body was telling me I couldn't do something. And sometimes your body's trying to give you a message. I'm like, hey, stop that, or you're going to be paralyzed for life, and you should listen to it. But no, as a generality, your body is a liar. It's going to warn you way before you get to a limit. When it says, hey, you can't go more than 2 miles, you got like 10 miles left in you. You keep pushing. And when your body lies to you, the best thing you could do is lie back. So that, for instance, you're on a road march, you're carrying a bunch of weight or something else like that, you're on a big run, and you'd be like, okay, my body wants to quit. Great, I'm going to quit as soon as I get right up there. And then when you get up there, you've promised your body you'll quit. Lie to it. Just say, not this one, the next one. I'm going to quit right when I just keep going. And it's a little kind of stupid cheats like that, which don't make a lot of sense, but you got to find some little way, some little mental diversion, so that you can keep putting the carrot in front of your nose and you can keep going. But your personal limits are far, far past what you think they are. There's a difference between discomfort and pain. Most of us experience discomfort. Suck it up, push through, you can do it. But a lot of times you're gonna have to train smarter before you can train harder. And before anyone gets upset at me for mistreating a machine gun like that, just know that the machine guns in Ranger School don't work anyway. So you're carrying all this weight to go to an objective where you're going to shoot a gun that doesn't work because it's been shot by about like 10 million other people. So don't stick up for the gun. That gun sucked. It needed to be bashed against a tree. And I was there to help. Another story that springs to mind about just kind of pushing through those mental limits. And yeah, as you're getting ready for something, train, become as physically fit and tough as you possibly can. But understand it's ultimately going to come down to mental toughness. So this stuff is very, very appropriate, and you need to know it. I had just done an airfield seizure. The bird was late, so we were out on a wet airfield in 40-degree temperature for a couple hours. And 40 degrees doesn't sound terrible to some of you guys, but when you're laying in a puddle for 2 hours, not moving, it gets pretty bad. I remember I had a pack of Skittles in my pocket, and that was kind of my morale food. So when stuff got really bad, I'd pull it out and I'd eat a Skittle or two, and that was going to help pull me through. So I was thinking. But my hands had absolutely no strength in them. So even when I held the Skittles like this, I couldn't actually open the packet. So they were just there tormenting me, and I could not get that goodness, which was really maddening. And it was just terrible. Your whole body was freezing, and I stopped praying, God save me, and I started praying stuff like, here I come, God, I'm dying right now. And I did, in fact, get hypothermia that night. When we all finally rallied together, though, it just, and I got around other people, and I wasn't just miserable by myself for a couple hours. I ended up plopping down with some other guys, and the very first comment that I remember saying is like, are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, I would give anything for a snow cone right now. And it was just one of those moments of absolute stupidity, and we were just kind of joking about all these you got to kind of find your inner masochist and laugh at your own pain. If you take your pain too seriously, you're not going to be able to make it through it. Find your inner masochist. I hated being cold. I carried around this little yellow post-it note, it was folded up in my wallet. And when things got miserable, and this would be overseas in combat, or just anytime I was miserable, when I think about this, I'm like, a little morale boost. This is my trick to getting warm when everyone else is cold. And I'd pull out this little yellow post-it note, unfold it, and it had the word fire written on it. And then I would just put my hands over the yellow piece of paper that said fire, and it was so ridiculous. It just kind of mentally helped. But some of you will be like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Yeah, I agree, but it kind of helped and worked. Laugh at your own pain and misery. It'll make it a little bit better.